Good morning. Hello, hello. Hope you're all right. It's, what day is it? Tuesday, the 17th of August, 2021. And I wanted to jump on and just give you a bit of an update on something that's happening here. I say here, like that's happening. I'm just realising that I'm sat in front of my whiteboard. Just going to move. Even though it's back to front, it has people's names next, so I'll just move. Okay, cool. How are we? So, yeah, I wanted to give you a bit of a lowdown on the EOTAS course that I've put together. Well, it's a webinar that I've put together for parents. It is a short course, but it's a webinar, if that makes sense. And I wanted to talk a little bit about why I'm doing it and what its intention is and, you know, a bit about it, really. So, for those who don't know me, my name's Heidi Maver. I'm a SEND advocate. I specialise in EOTAS, education other than at school. My background is that I've worked in the field of SEND advocacy for about 2 years, initially as a parent peer-to-peer support worker, and I have an autistic son, and I myself am a late identified autistic ADHD adult. Hence the dungarees. Exciting dungarees, the uniform of autistic adults. Through our journey for my son, he was out of school for 18 months without any educational provision at all. We came quite late and unexpectedly to the realisation that he was neurodivergent. He had been fine in school for a while. He hadn't, but like he was managing, and we just put it down to him being a sensitive soul. If you can hear crunching and pattering about, that's my dogs. See, ADHD. And what happened was that kind of the wheels came off pretty spectacularly, and he hit a period of burnout and was unable to be in school for 18 months and was very unwell with anxiety, school-based trauma. It was really unpleasant for everyone. And I kind of naively, I think, it was in a situation that a lot of parents are in, where before you realise your child has special educational needs, you think that there's things in place and you just ask your Senko and stuff gets done. And for those of us who are in the know and know better, we know that it doesn't work like that. So what started then was a process that took almost 3 years to secure suitable provision through an education healthcare plan. And so I am an expert by experience, I suppose, in that respect. What became apparent was that due to the needs that my son has, there wasn't a setting that was suitable for him. And the reason for that was he has sensory processing disorder and quite significant sensory needs. And he also struggles with executive function, ADHD. He's diagnosed with social communication disorder. Basically, he's got all the diagnoses apart from an official diagnosis of autism, which is a separate issue altogether. But anyway, but he is academically very able. He doesn't have any cognitive disabilities, in as much as he is, you know, able to work at the same academic level as his peers, and actually quite talented in a couple of subject areas, English and art in particular. So we really struggled to find a provision for him. At the time, he was coming to the end of his GCSEs, and so we were looking for post-16 provision, and a number of settings were consulted with, and just nothing. There were settings were coming back and saying we can't meet need, because what I learned during the EHCP process was that you want your plan to be specified and quantified. But what happened in our case, and often happens, is that it was specified and quantified to the point that actually there was no setting that could meet need. So education other than at school was on the table after we'd exhausted all other options. And what I realised is that even though the piece of legislation around EOTAS, which is Section 61 of the Education Act, which basically says that a local authority can arrange special education provision that is decided necessary for a child or young person who can't access that provision in a school or a college or a post-16 setting. Whilst that is very simple, the process is actually quite complicated because there isn't a lot of guidance around it. There isn't a lot of case law. Many local authorities have often unlawful policies that block you making a request for EOTAS or you securing EOTAS. And it's quite uncommon in as much as, you know, there are probably less than a dozen families in each education authority area who have an EOTAS package. So caseworkers don't know their way around it and how to do it. And because it is a bespoke package, it's different for everyone. So whilst we were going through the process of trying to, I can't see comments. I hope people can hear me. Let me know if you can. Whilst we were going through the process of trying to secure EOTAS, it became clear that there was a lot of bad information out there. There was lots of like poor practice in local authorities, especially. And actually securing EOTAS was extremely stressful, confusing, frustrating. And what I realised during that process, oh, people can hear me, amazing. Thank you, Carly. What I realised during that process was that there wasn't anyone who was really offering good, solid, professional kind of guidance-based advice to families. That's not to say there weren't people in advocacy who knew their way around it. I had an incredible advocate who helped us at tribunal, who I know we wouldn't have been able to manage without. But I was particularly interested in this piece around EOTAS. And the reason I was particularly interested in that is because for me, I see fab dungers. Oh, thank you very much, Roberta. Lucy and Yak, they're my very favourites. They're also great for amples. They're ample on your amples. So, yeah, I think the thing that for me, what I saw increasingly having conversations with the families that were securing EOTAS was that families and children who need EOTAS have often been really badly let down by the system. And by the time they're at the stage of looking at EOTAS, they're on their knees, exhausted, and they just need someone to help them. And I, being that saviour complex kicked in, I was like, I will help these people. So that's what I've been doing for several months, and I've been working with some incredible families, and we're making progress, and I'm really happy that I'm able to help people on a one-to-one basis. However, I kind of was maybe naively not aware of how many people needed help in this respect. I am admin on a group, which is a group specifically for people looking at EOTAS and personal budgets for education, and we have people joining every day, and there's so much confusion and, exhaustion, and people just be like, please help. And I kind of wasn't ready for how many people needed help. And I was also hearing the same stories about common problems. So like Ellen has just said, I'm finding problems is getting packages implemented, not getting them to start with. LAs are corrupt. Yep. And I think that's one of the things that when I'm working with families that I try to do as much to mitigate against. So making sure that things go in the right sections of your plan, making sure that the personal budget is agreed, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it is, but it's a minefield. But I wasn't ready for how many people would need my help. And it became very obvious very quickly that that there wasn't enough for me to go round, and that I was running the risk of burning myself out. So what I have done is I sat down a while ago and fleshed out what would it look like if I was to make an offer to families that covered EOTAS. Like, what do people need to know, and how could I deliver that in a really easy, accessible way? So I've written a webinar with PowerPoint slides. I know, impressive. And it's mainly for me. And I'm going to deliver it live on the 1st of September. I'm going to record it and make it available on recording as well. But if you want to join me live on the 1st of September, there will be a Q&A at the end of that session. We won't record the Q&A, but there will be a Q&A. So the things that we're going to cover in that Q&A, in that webinar rather, is I've specced out what the conversations that I have over and over and over and over again with families. So, and I've kind of tried to answer the key top line points and also try to dive into some of the nitty gritty stuff. So what we're going to cover is what is education other than at school, and also more importantly, what is it not? There's a lot of confusion around, elective home education and EOTAS, and so we're going to do that. We're going to look at who is it for, what kind of families, situations, young people, needs usually are met through an EOTAS package. We're going to talk about how and when you should ask for one. So there's a bit around sort of like personal budgets and making sure you're clear with the local authority specifically what you're asking for. I have a lot of families who come to me and say, I want EOTAS. I'm like, well, we all would like EOTAS, but actually, can we make a case for it? And is there evidence that it's needed? So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the key laws and guidance and what do they mean in practical terms. So making sure that when you're making requests that you're citing the correct pieces of legislation, and that you're showing the local authority that you know what you're doing and that you're not getting caught up in what we delightfully, myself and Jess Kane, called LA ping pong. So yeah, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the processes and the pitfalls of securing EOTAS, and specifically what goes where in your EHCP plan, why sections F and sections G are so important. And also we're going to talk about outcomes and why they underpin an EOTAS package. We're going to talk about professional reports, why evidence matters, what kind of evidence to look at. We're going to talk about the consultation process and what happens when your LA ignore what you're asking for and still go out to consultation with settings, and what you can do as a parent in terms of making sure that settings are aware of what your child needs, and helping settings with making sure that they're consulting with full information. We'll talk about personal budgets versus direct payments. So Eleanor's saying funding, personal budgets via LA directly paying and how to cover in section F is badly misunderstood. Yep, we're going to cover that. We're going to cover what you can include in an EOTAS package. And we're going to cover common mistakes, what to avoid. Angela's saying, any advice on getting an EOTAS package extended whilst we await tribunal? Angela, are you in the group? I'll post a link. If you are, get over there and post that there. And if you're not, get over there and post that there. And then I'll help you there, rather than getting a bit sidetracked just now, if that's okay. So the session will run for 90 minutes. I am terrible at timekeeping, so there's every chance you'll get a good 2 hours out of me. But the main part of the session, the webinar itself, I'm intending to be 60 minutes long with a Q&A at the end. And you'll have a chance to take part live if you wish. Everyone will be muted during the webinar, but we'll have an opportunity to ask questions in the chat. And you'll also have a free replay for life with that if you jump onto that webinar. So spaces are £15 plus an Eventbrite booking fee, which I think is £1.67 or something. So it's under £17. I am limiting spaces just because I'll get a bit like Zoom blind if I have like too many people on, and it is like booking well at the moment. So please, if you'd like to be on that webinar live with me, go ahead and book it. I'll pop a link in the comments. I'll also pop a link in the description. Danielle, we found a college course, but can that be built around a flexible package to better meet needs? It's difficult to advise so much when I don't know anything about your background, Danielle. Strictly speaking, if you're enrolled with a college, then that isn't EOTAS. But I wouldn't be able to advise beyond that without knowing much more about your case. Are you in the group? Because if you're not, get over there, post in the group. If you are, get over there, post in the group. You can share more information there because it's a private closed group. So yeah, so Roberta, thank you. I'm pleased with it. I'm hoping that it's, yes, Eleanor's saying it'd be classed as flexi schooling. Eleanor's an incredible advocate if you want to talk to her about that. Like, I'm sure she'd advise on that. I often send people to other advocates if it's not strictly speaking EOTAS, because EOTAS is my thing. So, but yeah, get in the group and ask. And I'm sure Eleanor, who is over there quite active, she will help you as well. I'm sure. I guess she might. She's a lovely human. So yeah, so I'm hoping it will help people. It will be available to buy on replay also. It'll be slightly more expensive on replay, and I'll post that link afterwards. Karen stepping over has told me how amazing you are. Bless her. We love Karen. Karen sent me an amazing thing yesterday. She sent me this. Look at this piece of literature. It's key law and guidance. Oh, it's the kind of thing that gets me all excited. So, because I've got like folders of stuff, but it's nice to have it. I do like a spiral bound meaty tome. Anyway, so I will post a link. if you would like to jump on it, it would be lovely to have you join me. You will find that I am what you see is what you get with me. I will try and keep it slick. The content is there, the detail is there. I'll be the one delivering it, so there might be some squirrel moments, but you know, we're all human, right? So I will post a link. If you think that there are other people who might benefit from it, please do share this video or tag them. I'm not a spammer. I'm not gonna hammer you with stuff, but I just wanted to let people know what I've got planned. And the other thing to make you aware of, as in addition to that, is the last Friday of every month, so that will be the 27th of August this month, myself and Jess Kane from Seven Family Instincts do a free Q&A on EHCPs at 12:30. The last one ran to 2 hours. We were exhausted, but we are running that again on the 27th of August. And again, if you're in the group, you'll see it. And if you're on my page, you'll see the event for it. It will be broadcast live to our pages. If there are questions that you want to log in advance of that, stick them on an email and entitle it August Q&A to hello@sendfamilyinstincts. Is it .com? Yeah, .com. And just put August Q&A in the title, and we'll make sure that we cover your questions. Amber, me too. Karen also recommended you to me, Karen. Me to you. To you to me. To you. The Chuckle Brothers of Facebook. Okay, that's it for now. Have a lovely rest of Friday. I'm going to go and do some work on a nice chunky working document for a client. We've got a call this afternoon with their caseworker. We're going to give it to them straight. So yeah, I hope that's helpful. I look forward to having you on the webinar with me on the 1st of September. And yeah, have a great day. Take care. See you later. Chin up. Chin up. I'm such a douche. See you later. Bye.